Good evening. Welcome back to Be Rich. Today I want to talk about Afghanistan. You must be asking me, why am I talking about Afghanistan when there is nothing to be invested there and there is nothing that is happening there? It is a country that is ruled by extremists and the Taliban are in complete control. So, what possibility is there for me to talk about Afghanistan? Today, I want to talk to you about the importance of economics and what the America goofed up. For all its talk, America, when it occupied Afghanistan, was running an forced democratic society and people could move about. And the very fear that American weapons and Americans were stationed in Afghanistan in Kabul meant that the Taliban could not come and make progress. The America could have decided well before they will not get involved. But wanting to get even with Osama bin Laden, they did get into this mess. Having got into that mess, they cannot say that we have got what we wanted. We waited enough time. You guys have to grow up. Thank you very much. We are leaving. This is exactly what the Americans did. Previous American administration under Trump held secret talks with Taliban in Qatar and agreed that by such and such a date they would vacate. It was completely wrong to do that. Joe Biden, after winning the election, could have gone back on that promise and decided to stay. It would have spared millions of Afghanistanis lot of trouble. People who watched that crisis will know when the last planes were taking off from Kabul airport, everybody was trying to get out. There were images of people hanging on the wheel as the plane tried to taxi. People were so desperate that they wanted to go out. Anybody and everybody who had a passport and who could get a visa ran away from Afghanistan. All countries, Europe, America, and even India, had a lot of refugees with Afghani people moving in big numbers. The biggest problem of refugees is going to be for Pakistan. Why are there so much refugees? And why is everybody who matters trying to leave Afghanistan? The answer is very simple. Afghanistan does not have a functioning economy. When the Americans were there, at least there was some work, some services taking place, and there was money coming in form of aid, which was spent. Even governments like the Indian government invested in a parliament building, built roads and telecommunication networks, and forced the people to start thinking about doing something and getting jobs going to kickstart the economy. But with the very fact, when people knew that the Talibans were coming back, most of them disappeared, most of the embassies shut down, and people left the country. So, this was actually looking like a puppet state of Pakistan. And Pakistan, with millions of Afghanis as refugees, was playing the sympathy card with the Americans till they completely cut it off. At least before the Taliban took over, aid money was freely flowing into Afghanistan. But an active working economy is needed, and aid is not a substitute for any such absence of economy or economic facts and exchanges. But Afghanistan has never had an economy ever since the Soviets invaded Kabul. Once the Soviets invaded Kabul, the Americans joined with Pakistanis and decided to meddle in Afghanistan, which they successfully did. And they decided to get behind Afghanistan when Osama bin Laden, sitting in Afghanistan, bombed the Twin Towers. For all its noble virtues and preaching, the Americans abandoned the people who supported them in the democracy project in Afghanistan. They left them to fend for themselves, and those who got visas and were able to move out of Afghanistan were lucky. Why am I so critical of the American administration for abandoning Afghanistan? Because once they abandoned Afghanistan and Taliban started moving, what Joe Biden at best could do was to freeze the money belonging to Afghanistan and people living in Afghan in the banks. This meant there was no cash flow between Afghanistan and the rest of the world. When cash is absent, you cannot run an economy or an economic service. This meant that Pakistan has already collapsed and Afghanistan is on the verge of collapse. Millions of Afghanis are living in refugee camps in Pakistan, and the same is the status of them within Afghanistan. There is no food to go around because most of food needs to be imported. There is malnutrition, there is hunger, and there is death because aid is no substitute for a running economy. A running economy means that everybody who participates in the economic system makes some money. Whereas in a system of aid, it is the choice of the government and the choice of the Taliban to decide who will get the aid and who will not get the aid. This has resulted in people begging for it mercy, selling their children for a pittance into slavery, and finding it very difficult to make two ends meet. There are heartbreaking stories of people having to sell their organs to make their ends meet. The reason for all this is their abdication of its responsibility by the United States. The currency called Afghani has been declining in value for a long time now. After this act by the American president, the Afghani has declined by more than 12% against dollar. And since no banking sector is working properly, the ability to transfer money for loved ones into Afghanistan has all but dried up. Quickly, a native Indian jugaad has been started with people willing to pay lot of money for hawala so that foreigners can send their money to some of their relatives who are stuck behind in Afghanistan. The value of the Afghani has fallen by nearly 12% from the beginning of this year. This will mean more inflation in Afghanistan and more trouble. If the Americans didn't want to interfere, they should have never gone in. Having decided to go in, they have abandoned the people of Afghanistan to their fate. Thank you for watching. Be rich. If you like this video, kindly subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell notification. The turning on of the bell notification is required because without it, you will not receive a notification every time we put out a video. I also urge you to share this video to your friends and relatives on WhatsApp. Once again, I thank you for watching Be Rich. I have written two books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support.